So today we'll be discussing how we grew from one little itty bitty cell to what you see today. Let me see. The cells that you are made up of have a cell cycle that they grow through to make more of themselves. So right up here I have drawn out our cell cycle. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Why do you think that cells need to divide through the cell cycle?
Well, I think because they need to divide so we grow. Or our wounds heal, our hair grows, our babies get bigger, so cell needs to divide too.
Awesome, great points, definitely. So all those reasons that Ms. Steele just listed are reasons in which we need to go ahead and undergo the cell cycle. So let's see. Here on the board we have a drawing of the cell cycle and the various parts to it. So the first one that we are going to begin with is called the G1 phase.
What does G stand for?
Good, I'm glad you asked. G actually stands for growth. So at the very beginning of a cell cycle, just like whenever you and I were little itty bitty embryos in mommy's belly, we needed to grow. And so does this cell. So this particular chart right here starts at G1. So this is just a cell growing bigger. So growing bigger, getting ready to divide, but just growing bigger. In the G1, let me see. Okay, so in this phase, the cell grows and makes new proteins. So in that phase, it's growing, it's making new proteins. The next phase that it goes through is called the S phase.
What does S stand for?
Thank you, good question. That actually stands for synthesis. So remember that synthesis means to make more of. So really, this one little bitty cell that just grew during the G1 phase, no longer so little. Now it is making more genetic information, so that it has ample information to split up a little bit later on in the line. So next up, after the S phase, now we have the G2 phase. So I know you may be wondering, or actually you're probably not wondering anymore because I just answered that for you over here.
G1 it means growth, so G2 is probably growth too.
Perfect, right? Exactly. So in growth 2, what this little guy is doing now is he is growing more organelles. Organelles like maybe more Golgi bodies, maybe more of the rough ERs, smooth ERs, things of that nature. So definitely getting ready to split during the mitosis phase. Alright, so the last phase up here is called the M phase.
That M phase, is that mitosis?
Something like that. It's called the mitotic phase, but absolutely. So it includes mitosis, and not only that, but it also includes the cytokinesis section of this particular cell as well. So right in here, let me see. Okay. So what we've done here is we've mapped out the life cycle of a cell. Now, some things that we haven't talked about yet are as follows. So after the G1 phase, a cell can go into something called the G0 phase. Now, this is actually a resting phase. So after the cell grows, it's actually, you can kind of say it's kind of tired. So it goes into this little G0 phase. And most cells are able to go ahead and come on out of that G0 phase and then hop right back into this S phase and make some more DNA. Now, also, another thing I wanted to cover in this particular diagram here is something called a checkpoint. So, checkpoints are actually, checkpoints are actually a point where a cell is checked over to see if there are any mistakes. If there are any mistakes, say in the way that the DNA is paired up, or maybe in the organelles that it has made itself, then this is an opportunity to go ahead and either fix itself or the cell dies. So there are just ways in which we can go ahead and make sure that we have healthy cells.
But sometimes our cells are not healthy.
Absolutely, you're right. I know a lot of people have been affected by something called cancer. So our next little topic is going to be all about cancer and how the cell cycle is affected by it. So, go ahead.
So, normal cells, they divide differently than cells that are cancerous?
Yes, absolutely. I'm glad you said that. So if we were talking about a cancerous cell, the way most cancerous cells work, or some cancerous cells work, is that they still do start off here in the G1 phase, and some cells never actually stop in this resting phase. They don't undergo this G0 phase, but instead they just keep right on going into this little cell cycle, and they keep on splitting and then splitting and splitting and faster. And that's usually why cancer spreads so quickly, because they never stop to rest. Another way in which some cancer cells might work is by losing control of their checkpoints. So not only do they not undergo the G0 phase, but now these little checkpoints aren't functioning so well. And so even if there is a mistake, again, they just keep on going and going and going and making more of themselves. Very good.
Interphase includes G1, S, and G2. Mitotic phase includes mitosis and cytokinesis. Study this diagram carefully as it shows in detail the four main phases of mitosis. Notice the cell cycle has two checkpoints as well as a resting phase. Study this diagram carefully. It shows all the stages of the cell cycle, and it includes this G0 phase where cells can step out and rest.